I'm Jacalian from OneDrive, and I think most people know that there are numerous types of pedestrian crossings, but many people would struggle to identify the numerous types of pedestrian crossings, or at least the main ones. So let's talk about that. First of all, there are two categories of pedestrian crossings: controlled and uncontrolled. A controlled pedestrian crossing is a type of crossing where you have a button and lights tell you as a pedestrian or a driver when to proceed and when to wait. It's a controlled system and you are told what to do and when to do it. An uncontrolled pedestrian crossing is any type of pedestrian crossing without the button and the lights. So examples of that would be things like a zebra crossing, a dropped curb, lollipop people, a safe haven, which is commonly known as an island. So those are all types of uncontrolled crossings, and to be fair, I think most people can identify those types of crossings because they're quite different. But controlled crossings, the crossings with the button and the lights, are very similar, and if you don't know what you're looking for, a lot of people can be forgiven for not even knowing that there are many types, and there are many, but there's four main types, and those are pelicans, puffins, toucans and equestrians. So let's talk about those. Let's be clear on the difference between those. First and foremost, you've got a pelican crossing. Now what makes the pelican crossing unique is the sequence with which it presents its lights. The standard traffic light sequence is red, then red with amber, green, amber and red. And that's the sequence for all pedestrian crossings except the pelican crossing. The pelican crossing has a sequence that's almost identical, but it's red, flashing amber, green, amber and red. And so the only difference is instead of having a red with the amber, it's flashing amber. Now, to be clear, the flashing amber light means you may proceed if it's clear, or you must wait if it's not clear. That's what it means. The problem with the flashing amber light is that what a lot of drivers do is as soon as that pedestrian is out of their way, out of their path, they proceed, and as a result, break the rules. And so that is where the evolution of the puffing crossing came along. The puffing crossing is almost identical, but it has sensors at the top of the lights, and those sensors are watching the crossing and the road either side. And what it's sensing for is how busy the road is compared to the people on the crossing. So if you have a pedestrian crossing the road and taking a long time to do that, it will keep the pedestrian on green and the traffic on red until that pedestrian is safely across, unlike any of the other crossings. So all of the other crossings generally have a timer, and if the pedestrian hasn't made their way across within that time, the lights will change anyway. So the pelican crossing is unique because it's the only crossing that has a flashing amber light. When people stopped paying attention to that flashing amber light, we evolved and found the creation of the puffing crossing, which now uses sensors to decide when it is safe for the lights to change from red ultimately to green. That's the puffing crossing. Then you have the toucan crossing. Now, the way I teach my learners is think two can cross. Two types of road users can cross at a toucan crossing, and those two types are pedestrians and cyclists. Really easy way to know if you're on a toucan crossing, and that's if you have a green man as well as a green bike. If you have a green bike, you can assume that you're on a toucan crossing. And the last main type of controlled pedestrian crossing is an equestrian crossing. If you look at the definition of the word equestrian, it refers to horseback riding. And so an equestrian crossing is likely to be found in the countryside, in rural areas where you're more likely to see horses and people on horses. If the button is a lot higher up and the crossing is quite wide and you're in the countryside, you can be fairly clear that that is an equestrian crossing. And those are the four main types of crossings. As I said, there's more, but they're the four main ones. And if you can remember those differentials, those rules, you should always be able to know what kind of crossing you're on.